The victims of loan sharks have arrived at the federal capital Kathmandu to make their demands heard. This is the second time they have come to Kathmandu in the space of just over 6 months. Albeit this time, they walked all the way from Madhya province, covering their journey in just over 10 days' time. Let us hope that all the pains undertaken would not go in vain, the culprits brought to book, and the social ill called loan sharks wiped out once and for all. Good evening, I'm Abhiday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. The victims of loan sharks who started a long march from Madhya province arrive at the federal capital Kathmandu today. The victims want the government to address their problems at the earliest. Nepali Congress Parliamentary Party leader Dilli Chaudhary stakes his claim for the post of Chief Minister of Lumbini province. Chaudhary has the backing of 53 province assembly members. Honduras announces of severing the so-called diplomatic relations with the Taiwan government. The official statement by Honduras says there is only one China in the world. And Mumbai Indians take on Delhi Capitals in the finals of the first ever Women Premier League. The finale expected to be a thriller. Winners to walk away with 60 million Indian rupees. The victims of loan sharks who started a long march from the Madhya province arrived at the federal capital Kathmandu today. They entered Kathmandu after passing the night in Chakhel, located in Makwanpur's Indra Sarovar rural municipality. Some 72 loan shark victims from districts including Rohtahat, Sarlai, Mohattari had started the long march on 16th of March. The victims, most of whom are farmers and daily wage workers, said that they have come to the federal capital to make their demands heard. On the 10th day since they started their journey, they had arrived in Makwanpur's Indra Sarovar rural municipality yesterday. They stayed the night at a school while local residents made the provision of food. Majority of people in the victim group are women, while a number of senior citizens and children have also walked all the way from Madhya province, undertaking a painful journey. The government last June had struck an agreement with these agitated victims, assuring them of justice at the earliest. The government at the time had also committed of making laws to nab such loan sharks. However, the victims have been compelled to wage another round of protests as justice has still eluded them. Nepali Congress Parliamentary Party leader Dilli Chaudhary has staked his claim for the post of Chief Minister of Lumbini province. Chaudhary registered the claim to the province governor Amik Sherchan today as per Article 168 Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution, with the support of 8 parties and an independent member of the province assembly. He has the support of 53 province assembly members. Prior to this, the ministers of CPN Maoist Center, who were in the Chief Minister Leelagiri-led provincial government, had withdrawn their support to the government and tendered their resignation today. Likewise, Janata Samajwadi Party, Loktantrik Samajwadi Party, Nagrik Unmukti Party, among other parties, also withdrew their support to the Giri-led Lumbini provincial government. Right after withdrawing their support, Nepali Congress Parliamentary Party leader Dilli Chaudhary registered his claim to Province Governor Sherchan for the post of Chief Minister. The parliamentarians speaking at the 0 hour of today's meeting of the House of Representatives have raised the issues of public interest. The parliamentarians demanded investigations into the killings of those who took part in the protest of naming Province 1, provide free treatment to those injured in accidents, repair the Karnali Bridge, provide farmers seeds and fertilizers on time, among others. At today's meeting, on behalf of Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Minister for Communications and Information Technology Rekha Sharma presented the proposal on the works, responsibilities and authority of the Constitutional Council and the First Amendment Bill 2079 regarding work procedure. Speaking during the meeting, CPN Unified Socialist lawmaker Prakash Jwala urged to pass the bill at the earliest. Likewise, Janata Samajwadi Party lawmaker Pradeep Yadav said that in the absence of the bill, the appointment at various constitutional bodies have been affected. We will keep our viewers updated about other developments from the meeting of the House of Representatives in our later bulletins. Newly appointed Inspector General of Police Basanta Kumar has said that he will give priority to internal strengthening of Nepal Police. Speaking at a program held at the Home Ministry today, IGP Kumar assured that Nepal Police will strengthen to gain the trust of the people. IGP Kumar also informed that Nepal Police will be committed in curbing criminal activities, carrying out effective investigations, as well as maintaining peace and security in the country. IGP Kumar stressed on coordinating and working together with Nepal Army, Armed Police Force, and the National Investigation Department to strengthen internal security. Secretary at the Ministry of Home Affairs, Binod Prakash Singh, urged newly appointed IGP Kumar to carry out transfers and promotions by following rules and regulations. Secretary Singh also informed that the government is making preparations to introduce a new police act soon to bring improvement in the Nepal Police. And it's time now for the international updates. The Honduran Foreign Ministry announced that Honduras is severing the so-called diplomatic relations with Taiwan authorities. The official statement said there is but one China in the world, and the government of the People's Republic of China is the only legitimate government representing the whole China. Noting that Taiwan is an inalienable part of Chinese territory, the Honduran government severed the diplomatic relations with Taiwan and will not maintain any form of contact or official ties with the Taiwan region. Earlier this month, Honduran President Xiomara Castro expressed readiness to establish diplomatic ties with China. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson on Friday said that China welcomes the positive statement by the Honduran government on developing relations with China and stands ready to establish and grow bilateral relations with Honduras on the basis of equality and mutual respect. Russia has struck a deal with neighboring Belarus to station tactical nuclear weapons on its territory, but will not violate non-proliferation agreements. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko had long raised the issue of stationing tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus, which borders Poland. Putin said both countries have agreed without violating international obligations on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Russia will have completed the construction of a storage facility for tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus by 1st of July, Putin said, adding that Moscow would not actually be transferring control of arms to Minsk. Russia has stationed 10 aircraft in Belarus capable of carrying tactical nuclear weapons, President Putin said, adding that Moscow had already transferred to Belarus a number of Iskander tactical missile systems that can be used to launch nuclear weapons. President Putin made the announcement at a time of growing tensions with the West over the Ukraine war, and as some Russian commentators speculate about possible nuclear strikes. Rescuers combed through rubble yesterday after a powerful storm tore across Mississippi overnight, killing at least 25 people there and another in Alabama, leveling dozens of buildings and spawning at least one devastating tornado. Video taken in Rolling Fork, a town of 1,700 people in western Mississippi that was hit hardest, showed homes reduced to rubble, tree trunks snapped like twigs, and cars tossed aside. The tornado stayed on the ground for about an hour and cut a path of destruction some 274 kilometers long, according to preliminary information. Nicholas Price, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Jackson, Mississippi, said. Yesterday afternoon, Mississippi's Emergency Management Agency said that the death toll had risen to 25, with dozens more injured. The agency said 4 people who had been reported missing earlier have been located. At least 12 deaths occurred in Rolling Fork, its mayor Eldridge Walker said earlier in the day. An expanding anti-corruption probe in Venezuela has led to the detention of 10 officials and 11 businessmen, the country's attorney general said yesterday, adding that arrest warrants for 11 more people have been issued. The investigation, which began in October, is focused on state oil company PDVSA, a government entity supervising cryptocurrency operations, and the judiciary. This week, it led to the resignation of the country's powerful oil minister, Tariq El-Assami, who had served the government for 2 decades. PDVSA has accumulated $21.2 billion in commercial accounts receivable since 2020, including $3.6 billion potentially unrecoverable. The 21 people arrested face accusations of appropriation of public assets, money laundering, influence peddling, and criminal association. Officials involved could also face charges of treason, the Attorney General said. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, who said he has been directly overseeing the probe, this week appointed PDVSA's head, Pedro Tellechea, as new oil minister, delegating in him the supervision of the whole industry. In the last 5 years, Saab's office has investigated 31 cases linked to corruption in Venezuela's oil industry, which provides most of the OPEC countries' hard currency revenue, leading to almost 200 people prosecuted. Leaders attending the Libero-American Summit meeting in the Dominican Republic yesterday highlighted rising inflation, migration, and climate crisis as risks to the stability of the region, as well as the humanitarian crisis Haiti is facing. Presidents and representatives from 22 countries have gathered in Santo Domingo for the Weekend Summit, which provides a forum for leaders from across Latin America, as well as Spain and Portugal. The meeting comes as the region is grappling with stubbornly high inflation and global concerns over the financial sector after the failure of U.S. regional banks Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank this month. Chile's President Gabriel Boric hit out at Nicaragua's Daniel Ortega for the regime's decision to strip from their nationalities to 94 opposition leaders and fly to the United States other 200 political prisoners. Dominican Luis Abinader shed light on the humanitarian crisis its neighbor country Haiti is facing due to gang violence that has killed over 530 people this year, the UN said. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, meanwhile, canceled his attendance at the Libero-American Summit after receiving a positive COVID-19 test result, though he has since tested negative twice. The summit would have marked Maduro's first foreign trip this year. Welcome back. It's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Mumbai Indians face off Delhi Capitals in the final of the first ever Women Premier League later this evening. The match at Babur Stadium in Mumbai is slated for 7:45 p.m. kickoff Nepal time. Mumbai had thrashed UP Warriors by 72 runs in the eliminator match to progress into the final. Delhi, on the other hand, made it to the final by topping the points table. The maiden Women Premier League has witnessed an exciting brand of women cricket, as the final of the tournament is expected to be another thrilling contest between the bat and the ball. Mumbai Indians are led by Harmanpreet Kaur, who is also the captain of Indian national team, while Delhi Capitals are led by Meg Lanning, the skipper of Australian national squad. During the league matches, Delhi had thumped Mumbai by 9 wickets. It may be recalled that Delhi Capitals have never won the men's edition of the Indian Premier League. The women's team, therefore, have an opportunity to make amends and also inspire the men's team for the upcoming IPL season that begins in less than a week's time. The BCCI tournament organizers will provide a cash award of 60 million Indian rupees to the winners, while the runners-up will walk away with half the prize money. Morocco continued to ride the wave of their historic 2022 World Cup semi-final run, beating Brazil 2-1 in Tangliers in an international friendly on Saturday. The winning goal came with about 10 minutes remaining as substitute Abdel Hamid Sabiri roofed a loose ball in the Brazil box, and the Atlas Lions defense did the rest to see out a deserved result. The Moroccan team took the lead on the well-executed attack that was finished with a classy spinning move in the box by Sofiane Boufal. But an uncharacteristic mistake by Morocco goalkeeper Yassine Bounou on a shot by Casimiro saw Brazil equalize 1-1 in the second half. Morocco were simply sharper, more aggressive, intense, and direct compared to their South American opponents. Brazil were missing several injured players, and they were clearly not at their best, but they did get a fair number of chances. They had a goal called back for a Vinicius Jr. offside infraction. The Brazilian side were surprisingly knocked out at the quarterfinal stage on penalties, while Morocco became the first African team to reach the semis, where the Atlas Lions fell to France in a tight contest in the last World Cup. Nathan Broadhead scored a stoppage-time equalizer to steal Wales a 1-1 draw with Croatia as they kicked off their new era without Gareth Bale with a big result. Andrej Kramaric opened the scoring before the break, taking advantage of some lackluster Welsh defending in a one-sided game in Split. However, Croatia couldn't finish Wales off, with Mateo Kovacic missing a sitter and Ivan Perisic hitting the crossbar. It left the door open for a patched-up Wales to sensationally level matters with the last kick when Ipswich Town's Broadhead, making his debut from the bench, prodded home at the back post following a Connor Roberts long throw. In their first international since Gareth Bale's retirement, Wales boss Rob Page had headaches to contend with as Brendan Johnson and Ben Davies were both missing, while Dan James, Harry Wilson, and Kiefer Moore, Wales' starting front three, had only played 610 minutes of football between them in the Premier League this season. Spain cruised to a 3-0 victory over Norway at the Estadio de Rosaleda to kick off their Euro 2024 qualifying campaign in Group A. Spain were comfortable in the game's early stages, trapping Norway into their own half and controlling the game well. They would be rewarded for their efforts in the 13th minute when Dani Olmo opened the scoring, flicking on a shot from Alex Bald past Orjan Nieland. La Roja continued to dominate the ball for the majority of the second half, but failed to turn their possession into anything. Norway did start to find some joy at the end of the first period, with Martin Odegaard seeing more of the ball, but they also couldn't convert their chances. Norway started the second half brightly and looked as if they could find an equalizer. Odegaard and Alexander Soloth were influential in everything Norway were doing going forward, but they still lacked that cutting edge in the final third. New Spain manager De La Fuente introduced Dani Ceballos, who provided quality and chance creation in the midfield, as well as Mikel Oyarzabal and Yermi Pino on the wings, allowing Spain to stretch Norway's block. The most impactful substitution, though, was Joselo. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.